afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And this is another edition of hashtag Let's Clarify with myself, Mellissa Thomas, and of course, Angel Perry, who is the co-host and executive vice president of the Communications Workers of America, Local 3108. Good afternoon, Angel. How's it going?
It is going. How are you, Mellissa?
Going good. I'm doing good. Thanks so much for asking. So today it is, we talking about the Fight Club, guys. That is the sort of the opinion clash between Governor Ron DeSantis and Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings. They've, from the beginning of the pandemic, they've sort of had several differences of opinion in terms of the coronavirus response, logistically speaking, whether at the state level or at the local level. Now, the most recent boiling point came on Monday when Governor Ron DeSantis made his announcement before releasing the executive order, but he made the announcement during a press conference stating that he is basically nullifying all local emergency executive orders as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic. So I will hand over the ball to Angel to break it down a little bit further, to clarify things a little bit further.
So let's roll back like a week. With the Governor DeSantis, he actually extended the emergency COVID protocols by a month, and there was outrage. Like, either the vaccines work or they don't, is what was piling into his mailbox, phone calls, everything. And him being very receptive to Floridians, a lot of governors are not, we won't speak their names, but him being very receptive and rethinking, that's where Mondays comes in. And he's like, you know what? Let me look at the numbers. So for Florida, we are actually at 74% vaccinated. So the doses distributed for our state is over 21 million, and 15.6 and some change as of May 4th have been put in arms. So we are doing excellent. Like, the whole rollout that he designed, where we have all the pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens, Publix giving shots, and then the way he tiered it, where the most vulnerable were given shots first, you know, the age groups, the older age groups, and then as they became fully vaccinated, then he opened it up in tiers of ages, and now anyone 16 and over can be vaccinated. Those under 18 does need parental consent, but yes, we have Pfizer, we have Moderna and Johnson & Johnson available, which is very, very easy to get your appointment. You go to vaccine.org or the Florida State Health site, and it's done. Now, at the beginning of the whole shutdown, when the governor was trying to decide what could be open and what needs to stay closed, one of the points of contention between Mayor Demings and Governor DeSantis was barbershops and hair salons. The governor felt should stay closed. Now, the governor has perfect hair. Wash and go hair. That is very good for him. We love him because he, is a very good looking man. But not everybody has that. Not everybody has that. That some of us
has some genes.
So some of us need special care. Now, what he did do, and I give him the credit for that, the governor did that. Him and Mayor Demings got together, and he went on a hair salon tour between barbershops and beauty salons here in Orange County, and to diversify what he knew about hair. And the hair stylists and barbers and different shops actually educated him on the protocols that they had even before COVID. People don't realize when you go to get your hair done in whatever style or cut or wash, there is health protocols that are governed by the health department to ensure not only safety, but that, you know, you are treating part of your skin. Your scalp is part of your skin. Your hair follicles are part of a medical care. Just like nail salons have to go through certain protocols to make sure that people aren't cross-infected and all those things, hair salons and barbershops have those same responsibilities. So once he got the information and the research that he didn't have prior, then hair salons and barbershops were considered essential. Because the point of contention, and if people don't remember, pets were allowed to go get groomed, but then humans couldn't. Right. And that's what the issue was when they like, I can take my dog to get, you know, groomed, but I can't get groomed. My hair's not wash and go. You know, I need to go to my professional and have my hair dressed. And once he, you know, was educated on those things, he did the right thing. So there's been this back and forth between the mayor and governor.
The mayor and the gov.
The mayor and the governor has this bit of a power struggle. And, you know, our mayor here in Orange County does not pull any punches. Okay.
Whatsoever.
He had a statement, which was very, very frank, politely frank. He addressed, in review of the governor's executive order, I am not surprised. His first indicated that the order would not take effect until July 1st, 2021, and then quickly changed it to be effective immediately. He then offered new language that invalidates a local government's ability to take action during a public health emergency. Orange County government will continue to review statutory authority and will respond accordingly. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but essentially the government said, we're open 100%, no phase 1, no phase 2, no phase 3, we are open. So, and Mayor Demings is like, wait, what? But he's not the only one. Miami, Brevard County, there were several hot spots around the state that wanted to ensure that people were following the mask guidelines. But we are getting vaccinated. So being fully open, to the governor's credit, if you want to be safe, you're going to get vaccinated. That's basically what they're saying. And then we have a lot of people that are completely not happy about it. So
completely.
Yes. And I understand it. I understand both of it. So yeah, I understand where Mayor Demings is coming from, because it's like, hey, I'm supposed to be helping the people I've been voted into office just like you, and now you're just like pulling the rug from under us. And when he says us, he's talking about all the mayors, because technically the governor is supposed to sit at a round table or have a conference call, no different than when a president talks to all the governors. It's the same structure. Right. So to Mayor Demings' point, you know, communication is key. You know, we're in this together. We shouldn't be fighting, but sometimes some people want to show how big their jackets are.
That was a safe metaphor. I like that. But to your point about folks disagreeing, we will talk about that on the other side of the break, guys. So stay tuned, because we're gonna get into it. Obviously, you know, Mayor Demings isn't the only person being affected. You know, the mayors themselves aren't the only ones affected, but residents and small business owners as well. So we're gonna get into all of that fun stuff on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
All right, y'all, welcome back to Let's Clarify. And as we get back into our conversation with the big jacket, you briefly touched on it before the break, but there was a sort of response even from residents like, okay, which is it? You know what I mean? Because even from above the state level, one of the biggest points of contention was we don't have a national response to this thing. So it was left up to the different states to respond accordingly in terms of how to keep the virus from spreading in terms of masks and distancing. And then once the vaccines were made available, it was still a state thing like, okay, now we have to control the distribution. So you have the governor saying we are 100% open, whatever, regardless of age, whatever, we are open. And then you have the different mayors that are still considering how to evenly distribute the vaccine and then also administering help to the small businesses in their respective jurisdictions. So kind of talk a little bit about those consequences.
So what drove the governor in the first place was that very point. Like, we have the vaccines work. Why aren't we just open? Because we've been pretty much open the whole time, except for these mask mandates and these little restrictions that, we're just not used to. Now, what came out of this from okay, we're open, done, we're done. He did what everybody, a majority of people was asking. So as of May 2nd, Florida is at 3,841 new COVID cases, and we had 31 deaths on May 2nd. So clearly things are dropping, things are getting better.
Yeah.
Privacy concerns came about too. So the governor was addressing, in April 2nd, he addressed this, blocking COVID-19 passports. Like, we're not having this violation of HIPAA. HIPAA, if you don't know, protects your medical information, your employer. No one can ask about your medical information or require it, except for certain circumstances. Like, for example, you have to have vaccines for school, but your teacher can't see that information. The school can only verify that you had the standard shots. That's it. So there's been a lot of talk with big corporations wanting these COVID passports to let, employees back into buildings and all of the stuff that kind of brushes against our federal civil rights to begin with, or federal laws that we already have in the books. And then also too, this small businesses are worried because they did have support if they wanted to enforce masks. And then now what does that look like? Now, technically, the COVID mandates just had additional penalties if somebody violated. It didn't really add anything more severe other than the fines and things. Like, you could be in jail overnight, but it didn't hurt your record. You had to pay some fines. You went home. Just like if you were found drunk or something. So the rules still apply according to the no shoes, no shirt kind of thing. But then now small businesses will have to gauge, does the majority of my customers that come in, are they pro-mask or are they anti-mask?
Right.
The state's open. Me as a business owner wants to be open. I don't care about the mask, but then if I'm no mask, then Am I liable if somebody gets sick?
That part. That part.
Really, all these unanswered questions.
And the governor left it up to small businesses as to whether or not they want to enforce
Right.
mask mandates and distancing. So it adds question marks.
Yeah. So all of this that he just canceled, because there was protections with COVID, now there's not. It is the Wild West.
Yeah.
With COVID. I mean, me personally, I agree with what he did. We should be taking our own personal responsibilities for, like, once the general public's educated about something, being held by the hand of the government is not my cup of tea. Let me be responsible. Let me do my research. That's where I'm at with it. I will always be at with that. I want to decide for myself.
But then what happens with the folks that choose not to be responsible? Because we've seen that too. Like even during the course of the pandemic, you have your folks that are kind of like, oh, this is, like they were more on the extreme side of things, and it was just like, no, I will not wear a mask. I'm not vaccinated, but I'm also not wearing a mask because I want my free. So it's like, what if you're in a location where the businesses controlling the size of the amount of people that are going in? You had folks that were yelling in people's faces. You and I talked about it once before.
Right.
The guy that was yelling at somebody at Walmart and was like, nah, dude, you got to get out of here. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So to your point about the folks that are responsible, obviously we always give credit to folks that are, but for the ones that choose to be irresponsible, what would you prescribe for folks like that?
But then that's the old original debate. So I'm going to fall back on the whole HIV crisis.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, millions of people died before they could figure out about this virus. Like, how do you get infected by it? Like, what, can you touch someone? Is it, communal by surface? There was all these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And again, millions of people died from it. And even though now we have therapies, you can have a long, healthy life with it. But we never had the government come in and say, you know what? You can't touch each other anymore. You can't do this. You have to stay home. You have to have a pod. You have to close the schools. We don't know how this is getting out. We don't know. And I'm just saying that as an example.
Right.
We have all kinds of communal diseases between humans, all kinds. COVID-19 is not the only one. The initial shutdown, I absolutely 100% agree with, because we did not know what was going on and people were dropping like flies. Okay.
Quickly.
So, but once we are educated on what to do, and I am living proof that it works. The mask works. The social distancing works. I didn't stay at home. I wasn't locked up because I'm an essential worker. We're going to run across people that are irresponsible. That's the same thing with drunk drivers. That's the same thing with those that have weapons and shouldn't have them. We have all these things as part of our society. And we cannot just put collars on ourselves for the less than 0.5% that decide to be non-compliant.
That was a clean way to put that.
We're going to always have those that think different and are different. But that's also that same group that has this amazing ingenuity, that something is discovered, necessities are addressed. Humanity in itself, conforming and treating ourselves like robots will never work. There's got to be guidelines, and people encourage others to do the right thing. That's where we have to humanize each other. When we get into the different fringe groups that are just so far out from where everybody thinks, that's because we're not taking the time to actually connect with one another. You know, we should be getting to know our neighbors like we used to. That's how I grew up. I still, you know, my neighborhood now, that's how it is. I was, good morning, and how's, you know, your dog or whatever. And we all should be doing that. We all should be doing that. It's hard to be in a fringe or far reaches of no man's land if everybody is taking the time to connect to the person next to them. You know, it's not just about family and friends. Humanity on its in itself, we cannot survive unless we're all taking care of one another, period. You know, humans have to be human to humans.
Very true.
Say that 5 times.
Novel concept. Yeah, humans have to be human to humans. Awesome. So, and I mean, on that note, like we're actually crossing into our third segment where we always give you guys that sort of action step. That's one of them. You know, we'll give you this one ahead of time, but be human. Like humans have to be human to humans. You know what I mean? Be on the lookout for not only yourself, but for the folks around you. You know what I mean? That's very important. So we will take one final commercial break and come right back and wrap things up with today's edition of Let's Clarify.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing, so good, as in quality ingredients used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.
And we are back as we wrap up with this edition of Let's Clarify. So obviously, action step number 1, be human, right? Like make sure you're not only looking out for yourself, but looking out for the folks around you. Even if you're someone who believes very strongly against masks, against the vaccine, don't be all up in people's face like this. You know what I mean? Trying to make your point, don't do that. Please don't do that. Like,
right. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, like, don't do that. Like, don't be like the folks that we saw losing their temper in the various stores and saying my rights are my rights, my freedom is my freedom. All of that is true, but we have to use our heads too. We have to be wise about what we're doing.
Yeah, respect goes a long way.
Exactly. Exactly.
So some of the stuff that we went over today can be very overwhelming, and to the individual, your best bet is to do your research. Go through what your family needs are, what your community needs are. If the vaccine is something you don't believe in or just not concerned or just not sure about, that's understandable. The CDC website has all the information. You can go to vaccine.org. It'll give you the breakdown of what's in the vaccines. There's Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And, you know, if you don't want to get it, don't get it. If you think it's something great, then get it. But do your research. You know, Google's free, but the websites are up. You can go to the Florida State of Health website. You can go to the federal website. There's all of these sources of information, and then talk to your friends and family. Some of them, you know, will have opinions on, you know, what's best or what their history is, and that may be added information that you need to make a decision. But do what's best for you and your family. Consult a physician. I've said that so many times. Talk to your family doctor, or I mean, if you know your pharmacist, even, you know, talk to your pharmacist. Be like, hey, you know, I'm not sure about this. You got a few minutes? You know, talk to people, and that's going to be the best advice we can give you. Is do your research, really gather up the information, and then decide what's best for you and your family.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And as you guys can see on the bottom, we've got the action steps there. You know what I'm saying? Be human, talk to your peoples, talk to your family and friends, consult your physician or your pharmacist, as Angel added, because that's true. Not everybody has a physician, But given the vaccine, nearly everybody's going to a pharmacy. And hey, visit the Department of Health and CDC websites, do all the research that you can. As Angel and I always drum, Google is free. So, you know, for right now, it doesn't hurt to do the research. Go ahead and, you know, check out Google, make sure you have all the information you need before you make a decision, because that is a very important decision in terms of taking a vaccine that maybe you still have questions about. But that does it for this edition of Let's Clarify. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You will find us at Florida National News on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon on YouTube so you get all the notifications for all of our shows. And on Instagram, in case you want to drop a question to Angel directly, you'll find her there at A for Amazing with the big jacket. You know what I'm saying? She'll be happy to answer all your questions. And hey, if you got questions, comments, opinions on this particular episode, leave a comment wherever you're watching this, whether you're seeing it on Instagram, you're watching it on YouTube, on Facebook, leave a comment below. We would love to hear your thoughts on it. Love to have you join the conversation. And of course, make sure you include the hashtag Let's Clarify in your comments so we can keep the conversation going. And as you can see, guys, we do run ads on our show. So if you're interested in advertising with us or even sponsoring one of our segments, be sure to shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to get the conversation started. We'd love to chat with you. Angel, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for breaking things down for us, as always. Be safe.
Thank you.
All right, you guys be safe as well. If you're in the state of Florida, particularly Orange County, maybe you don't want to mask up anymore. That's okay. But wherever you're watching from, if that's still a thing, if that is still a thing, wherever you're watching from, be sure to mask up, practice that distancing until we open up completely. In the meantime, take care.